Alright. First, we gotta take this here intake box out. 10mm bolt right there. Undo this connector. There's a 8mm down here on the bottom. Intake goes on. Hopefully. Pop that off there. Pop it out. Set it aside, and now we gotta go down there and take the exhaust elbow off and the downpipe. Always check your lift pins. We gotta take that clamp off there. And I have an exhaust brake right here, so I have to take that clamp off too. And then that down pipe will drop out, and then that elbow on the back of the, well, you might be a factory turbo, but I'm a 63mm stealth. So take that other clamp off there and take that 90 off too. These are all 7/16. Get you 9/16 an extension for this exhaust bracket here. And that down pipe should be 3. Now we can take off that cast turbine housing. So you just click. Taking the exhaust off, you take off this ground right here to 15. This top motor mount bolt, that's a 15 as well. And then this bracket that holds your wastegate solenoid wire, take it out as well. It's an 18. The hardware for that turbo bracket here. Sits in there like that. Those 3 holes bolts we just took out. And this is how it's set up in the truck. This is a thin spacer on the top left, and these 2 are the same size on the right side. It's a 3/4 inch socket, 8 mil Allen. This goes in the bottom hole, goes top left, top right. One. Easier to start on that right side than trying to get that engine mount back in there. Once you got that bracket on there, there's a little dimple right here. There's a freeze plug in there where you have to take out for the drain plug on the big turbo. I like to just take a screwdriver and tap it on one side and then grab the other side with pliers and pull it right out. Once you get that little freeze plug out of that hole for the drain on the big turbo, this is your drain inlet. You have two O-rings right here. Oil them up before you push it in, it makes it a lot easier. And this is where the rubber hose clamps to with your 1-inch hose clamps. I'll put that in now and show you what it looks like. After you got the bracket on and that elbow off back there, you're gonna have your drain right there. You're gonna take this hose they supply and one of the 1-inch hose clamps, put some WD-40 in it into here, slide it up over that oil drain right there and snug it up. Don't over tighten it, you'll break a clamp. After you get your hose on there, on the oil drain, comes with this reducer. It's silicone, so it takes a little bit to get up on the end of the snout of the turbo. And then you take your 4-inch T-clamp, snug that down. Get it pretty tight, but not over tight, because this is a boost clamp. So if this is not tight enough, it will lose boost pressure. This is your reducer for your intermediate pipe. It'll go from here to the snout of the big turbo. And put your 3-inch T-bar clamp on there and slide your intermediate pipe. The end with the bead roll, not the flanged in. You'll have to cut about 2 inches off the supplies hose. Make sure you check that before you go off my measurements, and then snug this top clamp up. Make sure you snug that bottom clamp up. Make sure this hose is not kinked, or you will lose oil draining capabilities and blow up your turbo, because it will not be feeding oil to it. On your turbo, it comes with plugs in the top and bottom for the oil drain and feed. Take those out. Comes with a fitting for an AN adapter. Put a little bit of thread tape on there and thread that in. Do not over tighten it. It's just an aluminum AN fitting, and it will break if you over tighten it. And on the bottom where the drain's at, they supply 2 studs. This is sealed with an O-ring for the mounting bracket that holds the big turbo up. Just thread those studs in there as far as you can by hand, and should be ready to set on the bracket. Take the hot pipe and use a factory clamp on the back of the little turbo and just loosely snug it up so you can rotate it back and forth. On top of the oil filter, you'll have to take this plug out for the feed, and it'll give you an AN adapter from here to the top of the turbo. After you get that feed fitting, the straight end of the feed hose threads onto that AN adapter. Just snug it up for now. And then the 90 will go into the big turbo. This is what it'll look like after you get that turbo saddle on there. There's 2 13mm nuts that go on the studs you put in earlier. I had to take the compressor housing off and get to those. And then from the inner fender liner, it's your hot pipe from the back of the little to the big turbo. Those 4 bolts, make sure you put your gasket in there. They're 13mm as well. And your down pipe goes on the back of your big turbo there, 7/16. The down pipe is in 2 pieces. It won't go in as 1 piece. So they put a clamp there. down below, because I have the exhaust brake, I had to do some fancy majiggering with the slip coupler, but it clears everything nicely. That's where the feed from that oil line goes into, from down there. There's 5/8 inch wrench. Tighten them up. Don't over tighten it, because again, they're aluminum. So your AC lines, you have to bend those out of the way a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Get enough clearance so you don't not touching anything. But yeah, that's the compound install. And does that fill up the engine bay? Looks good. This heat wrap on here will smoke for a long time until it gets broken in a couple heat cycles. So don't be alarmed by that. Just when you start it, make sure this is not leaking, drain is not leaking there, at the clamp, and below. Then you should be good. There's no coolant, no oil lines that you messed with previously that would leak, other than that connection, this connection, the thread end bung, and the drain, and down there on the block. I'll do another video of where first start and first dry. I'll do another video once it's tuned and tone with it as well. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.